Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live, of course, only on DBS. We've launched the U Factor tonight. It's all about you. And as I said earlier, we have Angus McMillan, who is here on set with us. Angus, welcome again to Dolor Factor Live.
Thank you, Julia.
I think you're becoming, what's that name that Oprah, the guy that, the gentleman that Oprah has, and he has his own show now because he was just so wonderful. He's got his own show. I can see him. His name just, but you are that. You are that.
I am
Dolor
that.
Factor. You're always here.
Not Dr. Oz.
Yeah. We have so many questions here that people have sent prior about self-esteem, but I just want to take one call quickly. And then we can go into the meat. So all those people who sent in their emails and their questions, listen to this because this is something else. Hello and welcome to Dolor Factor Live.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, thank you so much for calling us. Can you tell us a bit about the event that's taking place this week, please?
Certainly. It's actually in May. It's called Expo 2012. And it's a Grand National Exposition that is being hosted by the OPSR. It's to showcase the excellence and authenticity of solution products and services. We would like to extend an invitation to you, your guests, and the general populace to visit the exposition. We want to be able to showcase the best of St. Lucia, both products and services. We promise that the event is going to be a very interactive one and very prominent, where visitors, you the visitors and also buyers, can expect to see the best of our local products and services, can also experience products and services through sampling and other interactive activities, and also understand the importance of export development within the society. Expo 2012 will be held from the 24th to the 26th of May at the Union Industrial Estate. Doors will open to the public from 12 to 8 p.m. Again, we would like to extend an invitation to everyone to visit Expo 2012. We see, expect, experience, and export the best of St. Lucia. The exposition will, again, showcase the best and excellent products and services that we as a nation are capable of producing.
We've got that message loud and clear, and that's part of what U Factor is about. We're trying to say to people that you may be really good at something. All the people who are going to be at your expo, I'm sure they started small, but they had something that they believed in. And it's not impossible for someone sitting at their home right now to think, I have a really great product, but I don't know where to go. Perhaps they can visit the expo and they could speak to you as well?
Certainly. I can tell you the OPSR over the past 3 years concentrated on a lot of private sector development projects. As of last year, we have been mandated to become St. Lucia Trade and Export Promotion Agency. One of our goals is actually to be able to increase the domestic consumption of local products and services. And we think it's very important that we embark on a national campaign so that we can get our local persons to see and understand that our products and services are comparable to others that are out there.
Great. And I understand that you're giving away a fantastic hamper tonight. What is the question our viewers have to answer?
Certainly. We, as part of the exposition, the complement to the exposition, will be launching what is called Exportal St. Lucia, which will serve as the export trade portal to St. Lucian products and services.
Right.
Okay. So our question tonight would be basically if persons would call in and give us the name of St. Lucia trade portal to St. Lucia products and services.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't get your name at the beginning of the conversation. Can we have your name, please?
Andrina Simon, and I'm the marketing officer from the OPSR. And I'd like to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to invite you and the general populace to Expo 2012.
Thank you so much, Ms. Simon. Thank you.
You are.
Again, people, we're asking you to listen. There are places to go, all right? If you have something good, there's one of the places to go. Now, we were talking before, I just introduced Angus, and I wanted to say that we're going to, I've got all these pieces of paper of all your questions. All right. Okay, let's see. Where do I start? Okay. I mentioned the first question before, and I'm going to go straight to it. A lot of people have asked the same question in different ways. How does someone build up or have self-confidence if their spouse puts them down?
That is a terribly difficult question to answer, simply because it involves basically domestic violence. Domestic violence is not necessarily about physical, but it's also about emotional, spiritual, and sometimes verbal abuse. If somebody stays in a relationship that is like that, that's an indication in and of itself that there is an issue with self-esteem, because that person fairly evidently does not consider themselves worthy of treatment that is better than that they're receiving from the person that's doling it out to them. And that's a difficulty with actually that person addressing that issue, because they feel that they don't deserve any better. No one else will love them. They're not worthy of being anything other than this person that's controlled basically by a partner. Now, that doesn't necessarily, it sounds as though I'm talking about a man controlling a woman. It works the other way around as well. Men are abused in that way. Although the issues that affect, the issues that they use are different. Men tend to control, or attempt to control women through using fear. This is going to happen to you if you leave me. Your children, I'm going to keep your children. No one else will love you. You're worthless. Nobody will give you a job. No one else will love you. Women tend to use a slightly different approach with men. They use shame. My previous boyfriend was better to me in bed, or that type of issue. But finding one's way out of it is difficult.
Okay, but let me ask you, because we're talking specifically about self-esteem and low self-esteem. How does a person know that they have low self-esteem?
Well, it's normally the people around the person that knows, that recognize an issue of low self-esteem. They may not be able to put a name to it, but they recognize that there's something happening. For example, I might say to you that I really like what you're wearing this evening, and you might say, "Oh, this old thing, I only paid $2 for it in the market."
That's a solution response. I would have put that down too.
That's a typical thing of that's an exhibition of low self-esteem right there, because self-esteem is about one's own ability to account for. It's a psychological term, which is a judgment of one's own self-worth. And if my worth is not good, is insufficient, then there are things that I will not do. I'm not worthy of compliments.
Let me ask you something. You know, some people in conversation, they say, well, especially when they talk about relationships or even jobs, they'll say, well, there are certain things I will do and certain things I definitely won't do. They say that. But then when it happens, they do it anyway.
Yeah.
So does that mean that you have low self-esteem, or you've
not
changed your
necessarily.
values?
It may mean that you're just facing reality and the fact that I have to do this. If I want to get what I'm aiming at getting, then there are steps that I need to take. And sometimes it's about doing things that I don't particularly want to do.
I mean, Andrew, how do you... I'm trying to get the question out right. Because Angus just said that it's the people around us who recognize self-esteem. Have you been in that position where you have seen certain people who you feel, especially you just know, or you feel that the person should know better or could do better? Have you been around people like that or identified any?
Yes, I have. Know that person very well, actually. It's myself. What happens is, I consider myself a person with high self-esteem, But what happens, it's very hard for you to see yourself. And I recently had an event where someone pointed out to me that I was actually displaying low self-esteem. And it actually happened with my company. I conceived Transit TV. I developed Transit TV. I launched Transit TV. I've been running Transit TV for 3 years. But every time I'm filling out an application form, I always state my profession as self-employed. But the company is incorporated. I'm the managing director. I'm the managing director and the founder. But I would never fill out an application and say managing director. I would say self-employed. And my fiance said to me, why do you keep doing that? Because people have an impression when you characterize yourself as self-employed, it's so vague, it doesn't carry the prestige of a managing director, and you are the managing director. And I realized at that point is, I do have a lot to be proud of and consider myself a managing director, but I was so worried about if I deserve to be recognized as the managing director, because I don't feel I deserve that title. But who deserves it more than me? Because
that's what you are.
I build the business.
Is that a self-esteem issue, Angus?
To some degree, yes. To some degree. It may also be an issue of I am confident within myself and I don't want to ostentatiously display issues about myself that I feel that I don't need to. But yes, it could quite easily be a self-esteem issue.
Okay, let me see. Other questions here. Okay, how can parents contribute to developing healthy self-esteem?
That starts at a very early age. The first thing that comes to mind is safety of the child, i.e. the perception of safety from the child's perspective. 3 different types of parenting: passive, authoritarian, authoritative. One is allow the child to do whatever they want to do. The other one is don't bother to spare the rod at all. The other one is set your limits, set boundaries. These are things you can do, these are things you can't do or shouldn't do. And the child feels safe because they know what the boundaries are. They can't go and poke at mother because dad says don't do so, but mum will say yes. And they start manipulating in that sense. That's the first thing. The second thing is to always remember to never criticize a child without giving them something positive to go with it. In other words, don't put the child down simply because they failed an exam. You could say to the child something like, for example, okay, I understand you probably didn't do sufficient work this time. Next time, this is what you perhaps need to be doing. Can I help you with that? Rather than using one's, and often it's about the parents' feeling of shame and in some way having failed the child, that they don't allow the child to say, okay, fine, I've made a mistake, but what I need to do now is pick myself up and learn from that and do things differently. That's part of self-esteem building.
And teachers, I'm assuming the teachers have, by extension...
Teachers by extension, yes. Some children are difficult at school. Others are not so difficult. It's very easy for a teacher to not encourage a child who is being difficult. And that child will feel that they don't deserve the attention of the teacher, just as they haven't deserved the parents' attention, and that type of thing, so that you grow up feeling that you're not good enough, or that I'm not worthy of, or I cannot produce as well as I should be able to produce, because everybody is saying to me, you're worthless. And that's the issue of bullying as well at school.
It is. Well, that's one of the reasons why U-Factor will be starting to go to the schools, because we know that there are lots of issues there that the children have to deal with that perhaps they will tell us about. This is Dolor Factor Live on DBS. We're going to the break. When we come back, we will open the phone lines for you. Not too long to go, so if you have any questions, this is the time to call us. We'll be right back. See you soon.